Okay, so you want to be an auto locksmith. There's not a great deal out there, I feel, telling you the truth about being an auto locksmith. There's lots of spin out there. People advertising, earn £1,000 a day, do my course, be a master auto locksmith, do a 5-day course, 10-day course, 30-day course, £1,000, £1,500, £5,000, £8,000. So I'm going to put this video together to give anybody who is thinking of becoming an auto locksmith the truth really of what is needed and what is required. Okay, so let's deal with the cost first. There are lots of people out there who want to be auto locksmiths. They have £1,000, £2,000 in the pocket. They ring somebody up and say, I want to train as an auto locksmith. But the fact of the matter is that unless you have £20,000 to £25,000, forget being an auto locksmith. First of all, you have to pay for your training, which could be anything from £1,000 up to £8,000-9,000, depending on what training you wanted to do and where that training was. You then have to buy your stock. You've got to buy your chips, your keys, you've got to buy your programmers, you've got to buy your key cutting machines, you need a van to operate out of, you need some kind of Wi-Fi within that vehicle. When you start adding all that together, you're easily at £20,000 to £25,000. And if you don't have that, then forget it. Don't bother trying to become an auto locksmith, because you will just end up skint and having done a little bit of training and not able to go anywhere with it and just waste your money. So you need £20,000 to £25,000 in order to become a fully working, serviceable auto locksmith, going out to people's houses or to garages or companies and doing car keys. When you look at the cost of some of the programmers, Smart Pro, probably £4,000, key cutting machine, anything from £1,600 to £5,000. When you then look at the RW4, probably another £2,000. When you look at Z-Full, probably another £3,000. When you look at Handy Baby, again more money. So again, I will give you my advice, and my advice is, unless you have £20,000 to £25,000, ain't going to happen, guys, so forget it. Okay, so we've dealt with the cost, so let's move on to having a working knowledge of an iPad or a laptop. Being an auto locksmith requires you to use an iPad quite a lot, and also to use a laptop. These can be used for a number of things. A lot of your updates on a lot of your programming equipment or your key cutting equipment will be done via a laptop. A lot of your research that you do during a working day will be done through an iPad or something similar. So you need a reasonable working knowledge around an iPad and a laptop. If you don't have these, then you will find things a little bit difficult, because the way that the industry is, that yes, you do have books to look through, but primarily most things are done between the iPad or the laptop. We use programs such as Instacode, for an example, and we use several other apps and applications during a working day. So you will need a proficient knowledge of using an iPad or a laptop. Okay, so in this section I want to talk about the ability to take information in. Taking the information in that's needed as an auto locksmith is almost like learning another language. There is so much information to take in that if you struggle to take and absorb information, then again, this isn't a job for you. I suppose it's like when you take a degree, the degree isn't really the issue. What a degree shows is that you have the ability to take information in. With being an auto locksmith, you do have reference books and you do have your iPad and your laptop, but there is still a lot to absorb, not just during training, but probably forever on the job. There is so much, knowing what chips go in what keys, knowing what cars you can program, what you can't program, knowing when things go wrong, knowing what keyblades, knowing what keys. There is so much information to take in with this job that it is so important that before you start any training that you're able to take that info in. I mean, just picking cars, every car, every pick is different, and you need to be able to take that information in. You need to be able to listen. You need to be able to listen what the instructors are telling you, and it is very, very difficult. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's something that I took in straight away. It was very difficult because I think statistics show that every time you go on a course, if you come away from that course having absorbed 10% of it, then you're doing pretty good. It is very, very difficult. So again, if you have the ability to learn, if you're prepared to sit down, you're prepared to practice, watch YouTube, and you're prepared to work hard, then it's something that you can do. But if you're not a person that wants to sit and read books, wants to look at books, you may be on a job. I'm just going to pick a car from random. Let's pick a DeLorean. Somebody calls you, they want new locks on a DeLorean. You can either say, sorry, I don't do it, or you can go on the internet, you can get reference books out, and you can try and find locks for that car. Again, when you're programming, again, it's a learning process. So again, I would say that without doubt you need the ability to take information in. And I saw a comment recently that somebody made about the older you get, the more difficult it is. I would say yes, they're correct with that, but I would say that it's not something that you can't do. If you're 50 or 55 and feel that you want to take a new direction, it's not something you can't do. It just means that it just might take you a little longer to take the information in. So just to recap, the ability to take information in and keep it there. Okay, so let's talk about training. I want to talk about the different areas of training, and then obviously I will give my opinion, and it is just my opinion. So first of all, I've noticed that there are people, certainly online and on YouTube, saying pay £150, pay £180 and do my online auto locksmith course or locksmith course and earn £1,000 a day. You'd have to be from the loony bin to believe that. That there is no way in this world that you can learn to be an auto locksmith or a locksmith online and for £150 or £180. It's just to drag you in, and once they've got you in, it's we'll make your website, we'll do your Google AdWords, and you're just throwing money at them when you may as well just burn it in your garden. So if you see anything that says online training, avoid it with every ounce of your body. Avoid it, because it is just rubbish. So next, you've got a series of companies offering workshops or classroom based learn to be an auto locksmith or learn to be a locksmith. What I would say about these is I think that if you did a course for a week, it would give you the foundations or the basics to then go forward and practice, and to see whether it was something that you wanted to go ahead with. I wouldn't get involved in 2 weeks training, 3 weeks training, be a master locksmith, be this, because any locksmith or any auto locksmith will tell you that you don't become a master locksmith because you do a master locksmith course. You become a master locksmith over a period of years by doing jobs that go wrong. So what I would say to you is, when you see these companies, by all means look at them, and I think it's worthwhile having a week with one of these companies, because I think they'll teach you the basics of being an auto locksmith. You won't be a locksmith when you leave, whether that's 2 weeks, 3 weeks or 4 weeks with them, but I wouldn't splash any more money out other than doing a week with them. But certainly when you contact these people, you need to be able to ask a series of questions. Is it one-to-one training? How many instructors are there to the amount of pupils? Will we be working on live cars? Because you hear reports, I hear reports from other people that, they go on a course, there's one instructor, 5 or 6 pupils, he does a demonstration and then leaves you to have a go and goes and sits in his office, drinks a cup of tea and reads the paper. So again, I would say to you, yes, there is merit in these courses, but I would say don't do any more than a week with them, because you're not going to learn any more in 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, and you're certainly not going to be a master auto locksmith or locksmith. So yeah, find the right course for you. I've no idea who's good and who's bad, but have a look and see what you think. So next, what would I look for? What do I think is the best form of training? Okay, so first of all, let me mention that I'm totally independent. I speak my mind. I tell you who's good, I tell you who's bad. So I'm going to tell you the type of training that you should look for, and then I'm going to point you in the direction of a father and son team. And I'll tell you what questions to ask, and then the rest is up to you. I'm going to tell you about a mistake I made when I first started training. I saw a gentleman advertising auto locksmith training, 5 days, 1,500 quid. So I decided to book with him. Lovely man, great man, very funny, loved his company, and he was a tremendous dad, which is important. But unfortunately, he was a locksmith, and he was an auto locksmith. He wasn't really one or the other. He was kind of dabbling at both. So 1 week he'd be training someone at being an auto locksmith. The next day he would be training someone at being a locksmith. But the problem was that he wasn't getting the work. He wasn't getting the jobs. Whereas if you can find a full-time working auto locksmith that is doing between 3 and 5 jobs a day, and is doing on the job training or a mixture of classroom and going out with them on real live jobs, that's what you need to find. That's what you need to look for. Okay, so I'm going to give you my recommendation or my thoughts. There is a company just outside Birmingham called Fox Locks, run by a father and son team, Peter Fox being the dad, Scott Fox being the son. They are full-time working auto locksmiths, doing between 3 and 5 or 3 and 7 jobs per day. They work for the members of the public, they work for commercial companies such as body repair companies, and they work for auctioneers as well. And they are a training team also. Now the thing is with Peter won't just take anyone on the course. He won't just take your money. Generally Peter might invite you down for the day, and he'll see how you are in terms of your aptitude for the job, and if he thinks that you're capable of doing the training with them, which I think is 10 days, then Peter will invite you down on another day to do the course with them. Peter has a mechanical background, Scott has an electrical background, but as trainers or instructors and as auto locksmiths, they're second to none. Obviously at the moment we're impacted by COVID, so different training companies or individuals like Peter and Scott, they may have to tailor the training now for COVID. But even so, when I was with Peter and Scott, we were doing between 3 and 6 jobs a day. We even did a DeLorean. But what I learnt most was when things went wrong, because I could see that even for them as experts things went wrong, and when it's time to give up and say, you know, this car won't pick or this car isn't programming. So my recommendation would be is that if you're looking for training, give Peter at Fox Locks, you can find them on the internet, Fox Locks, give them a ring and have a chat with them, and don't forget what I've said. Ask them, say, Peter, can I have the number or email of people you've trained to have a chat with them, to see how they felt. Ask them about the training, ask them, did they supply training manuals, did they supply ongoing support after the course. So my recommendation is Fox Locks. Now I'm not tied into Fox Locks in any way, I get nothing from Fox Locks, I'm just giving you my opinion on the type of training they do is exactly what I think that people need. That's up to you from there really. You know, I've given my recommendation. Okay, so YouTube. YouTube is a tremendous resource both for working auto locksmiths and people who are thinking of becoming an auto locksmith. If you go onto YouTube and you put into YouTube auto locksmith or auto locksmith picking or Smart Pro, Andy Baby, RW4, Z Full, you will see videos on people showing you how to use them. You'll see videos of people picking cars, and you will see instructional videos on people giving you tips on how to pick. So I suggest that if you are thinking of becoming an auto locksmith, that you do a lot of looking at YouTube, because that will also give you some kind of idea if it's for you. If it is for you, what I would suggest is that if you ordered a lock for a Vauxhall Corsa, Vauxhall Astra, or if you ordered a lock for a Ford Fiesta or Ford Focus, something around 2008, 2009, and then bought yourself a pick and just watch some videos on that particular pick and on that particular lock, and maybe have some practice before you start your course. But use YouTube, because it is a tremendous resource. Again, you know, you're obviously on YouTube because you've seen or are watching this video. I have some instructional videos on picking for beginners, and there are lots of other people that do as well. So use YouTube. Okay, finally, I want to talk about tools, and in specifically, a lot of these companies that are offering auto locksmith courses are tied in with tool companies, and they will try and sell you a package, or they will try and sell you auto locksmith tools. Do not buy them. Firstly, you'll find them a lot cheaper if you look for them online yourself. And secondly, a lot of the things that they're selling you don't need, or you don't need the quality that they're selling you. So as an example, I will tell you about a mistake I made when I first started. The gentleman that I went on my first course with, that was a disaster, he told me that I needed to buy a particular key cutting machine. I think at the time the key cutting machine was about £5,000. I bought the key cutting machine, and yeah, it's good, it's done me well. But the thing is, a friend of mine, he has a key cutting machine that was £1,600, and it actually does more than mine. So again, I could have saved myself, you know, 3,200 quid, really 3,400 quid. So do not buy tools from these companies. Do not buy tool packages. Don't buy anything, because you will be able to find them cheaper yourself online. Or if you're buying a lot of tools, speak to people like Ickley's, Aldridge's, the 3D Group, and see whether they'll do you some kind of discount. But do not buy tools from any company that you do any courses with, because clearly they get a kickback. Often they're charging you a lot more than you can find them on the internet. So do your research, find out what you need, but buy it yourself. Do not buy any tools from any companies that you do your course with. Okay, so what you need to do is, if at this point you think, yes, this is for me, the thing that I would say to you is practice, practice, practice. When you sat down, make sure you're picking in the lounge. You know, when you're having a coffee, make sure you're picking. Pick. It's the only way that you learn. So hopefully you will have gained some insight into being an auto locksmith. It's expensive, it's not easy, there's a lot of knowledge to take in, there's a lot of training and the right training to find, and if it's still for you, then good luck and happy picking.